The Great Fire of London, a catastrophic blaze that swept through the central parts of the city from Sunday, 2 September to Wednesday, 5 September 1666, stands as one of the most defining events in English history, not merely for the destruction it wrought, but for the profound and lasting reshaping it imposed on London's physical, social, and economic fabric. Before the fire, London was a city brimming with contradictions, a burgeoning hub of commerce and culture, yet plagued by overcrowding, unsanitary conditions, and the medieval street plan ill-equipped for its rapid growth. The city, largely constructed of timber-frame buildings with thatched roofs, was a tinderbox waiting to ignite, a vulnerability largely ignored despite numerous smaller fires in the preceding decades. The summer of 1666 had been exceptionally dry, exacerbating the fire risk and creating conditions ripe for an uncontrollable conflagration. The fire originated in the bakery of Thomas Fariner, the King's Baker, located on Pudding Lane shortly after midnight on 2 September. A spark from the oven, or perhaps a forgotten ember, ignited a pile of wood, quickly escalating into a roaring fire fueled by a strong east wind. Initially, the fire was dismissed as a relatively minor incident, and the Lord Mayor, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, infamously responded with a dismissive pish. A woman might piss it out, refusing to authorize the demolition of houses to create fire breaks. This critical misjudgment proved disastrous, as the wind relentlessly fanned the flames, quickly spreading them across the densely packed city. The narrow streets, coupled with the abundance of flammable materials, timber, pitch, oil, pommeau, and tallow, facilitated the fire's relentless advance. The fire rapidly spread westward, engulfing Fish Street, Knox Market, and then moved towards the Royal Exchange, the heart of London's financial district. Panic gripped the city as residents desperately attempted to flee with their most prized possessions, clogging the streets and creating widespread chaos. The River Thames, usually a lifeline, became congested with boats laden with refugees and salvaged goods, while many others sought refuge in open fields outside the city walls. Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist, provided a vivid and harrowing eyewitness account of the unfolding disaster, documenting the fire's relentless progression and the widespread fear and desperation. His diary entries detailed the Lord Mayor's indecision, the King's attempts to organize firefighting efforts, and the sheer scale of the destruction. Charles II, recognizing the severity of the situation, took personal command of the firefighting operations, ordering the demolition of houses in an attempt to create fire breaks. But the efforts were often too late or hampered by the rapidly spreading flames. The fire proved remarkably resistant to conventional firefighting methods, as buckets of water were largely ineffective against the inferno fueled by timber and strong winds. Gunpowder was used to demolish buildings, creating wider fire breaks, but this process was slow, dangerous, and often insufficient to halt the fire's advance. The fire raged for 4 days, consuming approximately 13,200 houses, 87 parish churches, St. Paul's Cathedral, and many public buildings, effectively destroying the medieval city of London. Miraculously, the death toll was relatively low, estimated to be only a few dozen official deaths, although the true number is likely higher as many poor and working-class residents were not officially recorded. The prevailing easterly wind prevented the fire from spreading further west, and on Wednesday, 5 September, the fire finally began to subside, leaving behind a smoldering ruin. The immediate aftermath was one of chaos and despair, with tens of thousands of residents homeless and displaced, struggling to find food, shelter, and a means of survival. Looting became rampant as desperate individuals scavenged for possessions amidst the ruins, further compounding the chaos and misery. King Charles II and his government swiftly implemented measures to provide relief, including establishing temporary shelters, distributing food and supplies, and imposing martial law to maintain order. However, the scale of the disaster overwhelmed the resources available, and many residents suffered immensely in the aftermath of the fire. The challenge of rebuilding London proved immense, necessitating a comprehensive plan for the city's reconstruction. Numerous plans were proposed, including ambitious designs by Christopher Wren, Robert Hooke, and John Evelyn, envisioning a modern, grid-like city with wider streets and more open spaces. However, these grand schemes were largely impractical due to the complexities of land ownership and the urgency of rebuilding the city quickly. Ultimately, a more pragmatic approach was adopted, based on the existing street plan, but with stricter building regulations designed to prevent future fires. The Rebuilding Act of 1667 mandated the use of brick and stone for exterior walls, prohibited wooden jetties and overhanging signs, and established building codes to regulate street widths and building heights. Christopher Wren played a pivotal role in the reconstruction, designing 52 new parish churches, including St. Paul's Cathedral, a masterpiece of English Baroque architecture. The rebuilding of St. Paul's Cathedral, completed in 1710, became a symbol of London's resilience and rebirth, embodying the city's aspirations for a new era of prosperity and grandeur. The fire also led to the establishment of London's first fire insurance companies, providing financial protection against future conflagrations. The first companies, operating as mutual assurance societies, employed fire brigades to protect the properties of their members, marking a significant step forward in fire prevention and control. The Great Fire also had significant social and economic consequences, reshaping the city's demographics and trading patterns. The fire led to the displacement of many poor residents, altering the city's social fabric and contributing to the growth of suburban areas. The destruction of many workshops and trading establishments also disrupted existing economic patterns, leading to the emergence of new industries and businesses. The fire also prompted a reevaluation of urban planning and public health, leading to improvements in sanitation and infrastructure. The Great Fire of London was more than just a devastating catastrophe. It was a catalyst for profound and lasting change, transforming the city into a more modern, resilient, and prosperous metropolis. While the fire wrought immense destruction and hardship, it ultimately paved the way for a new London, a city built on the foundations of resilience, innovation, and a commitment to a better future. The legacy of the Great Fire continues to shape London today, reminding us of the importance of urban planning, fire safety, and the enduring spirit of a city that has overcome adversity.